Hey, this is the innovator Bonds, Tommy Dreamer, and you're listening to Strike Zone in Rhode Island, taking you to the extreme.
He has plenty of taunts, and he wants you to look at them. The one and only David Starr, the product, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. That's quite an intro. I have a question. Did everybody get to hear that music that I was just listening to while I was on hold?
Put on for my city?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to say either that's just like some crazy hold music that you didn't anticipate whatsoever.
Yeah.
Or everyone just enjoyed that whole song. I was okay.
Yeah, we gave you the proper intro. We didn't have any of your entrance music queued up, so we figured we'd put on for our city instead.
You got to get some Joan Jett going on in there.
Oh, yeah. You'd be surprised what we work in, David. You'd be surprised, my friend. We have our own taunts here in the Strike Zone. So I guess we'll work backwards here. This Saturday, you are taking on former TNA Tag Team Champion. I know you know something about tag team wrestling in your own right.
Yep.
For another New Englander, diehard Eddie Edwards. Your thoughts on that matchup? Big XWA showcase match.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. Eddie is, one of the most well-respected wrestlers out there, both by fans and by, other wrestlers.
Yes.
I still, to this day, my favorite match I've ever seen in person was him versus Biff Busick in Iron Man match.
I was there in person. Agreed.
Oh, it was amazing. I literally almost cried watching that match. It was perfect. And
it was amazing.
So I'm super excited to wrestle Eddie. It'll be the first time I've ever been in the ring with him in any capacity. There were a few times when I was supposed to be in there with him, when JT and I were supposed to wrestle the Wolves, and then some things happened and that match ended up getting changed. But I'm really excited for this Saturday in Cranston to get in the ring with Eddie Edwards. I don't know how else, just saying that gets me excited. So should be really great, and the whole show is going to be great. Top to bottom, every match seems like it's going to be something that everyone's going to try and top, so it only works out well for the fans.
Oh, yeah, and XWA has been known for bringing in tremendous talent, really such a respected company. Go ahead, guys.
Hey, David, I got to ask you, so you had some high-profile matches in the XWA, from the debut versus Shane Strickland, from being in the triple threat with Tommaso Ciampa, for being from the Extreme Rumble. What has been your favorite XWA match to date?
My favorite to date? Wow. There's been so many. Mike's been great about putting the great talent in general. So I can't say enough nice things about Mike and about XWA in general, and everybody who is behind the scenes and helps run the whole place. It's just a great environment. So my favorite match to date, it's so weird. It'd be a toss-up probably between my match with Hanson at last year's Resolution with Mick Foley as the enforcer, I had two good matches with Hanson that I really liked. The one went to like a 45-minute time limit draw, and the other one was the Resolution match just mentioned. I also wrestled Mike Mondo at Johnston High School for XWA back when that was November in 2013. That's still one of my favorite matches because Mike's so good. Another guy who just got to learn so much from just in the short time I got to wrestle him. That's the only time I've ever wrestled him.
I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves for being a true tactician of the business. A lot of people don't know he was one of the trainers who helped train Ziggler. Really a tremendous mind for the business.
Yeah, Mike is just someone I've always loved to just sit and talk to and just get his opinions on everything. He's so good at everything he does, and just getting to wrestle him, I learned even more. So it was great. He knows. He's just again, really underrated, because I think people get caught up in the fact that he was such a character when he was on TV that they almost don't want to let go of that. But behind all that is this amazing wrestler, and in every aspect. So, those would probably be my two favorite matches. I guess I do really like the triple threat with Atama and Ciampa
Yeah.
I really like that. I didn't like the fact that I lost my title in that match.
No.
But the match itself was good. Mike's always been really good and put me in positions to do well. So against top tier talent. So I'm just always appreciative of that. But those are probably my favorites off the top of my head would be the Hanson match and the Mike Mondo match.
Beer Hanson's incredible. We had the pleasure of interviewing him about a year ago before he really started making traction in Ring of Honor. Another local guy, kind of like Antonio Otama, another guy I really like, who I got the pleasure to see him live when he was first training in Providence a couple of years ago. So certainly tremendous talent. Jay, go ahead. It looked like you had a question.
Yeah, David, we got to see you actually back in January at the Extreme Rumble that XWA hosted. It was the West Warwick Convention Center.
Yeah.
And you actually would draw the number one. You drew the number one spot there in the Rumble. Can you talk a little bit about that? About that match and that experience?
Yeah. Well, I'd won the Rumble the year before. At number 19, so I was kind of right there in the middle. Basically, no matter what number you draw, you kind of go in there with the same strategy. Just try and throw as many people over the top as you can, and don't get thrown over the top. I mean, I guess that's the simplest way to put it. But it's kind of because when they did a random draw beforehand, and when I picked out number one, I was like, okay, that's interesting. So now I gotta. Hopefully, all the time I put in the gym really pays off because I knew I would need my. I knew I was going to need my cardio. So, I guess it's being at the Extreme Rumble is always great. Every year, XWA has a great Rumble. It's normally around in January, I believe. It usually is around then, and every year it's always a spectacle. There's always surprise entrants and people you wouldn't think would be there that show up. Like this year, Carlito was there out of nowhere. I think the one year Gilbert was in it. Hurricane Vader showed up out of nowhere. So you never really know. And Vader ended up winning the title at an Extreme Rumble, I believe, a couple of years back.
Yeah, we went to a show where he was holding the belt.
Yeah.
When Flair came in, when they did the memorial show for Ric Flair, he was the champion, Vader. I think he lost the belt that night.
Yeah, that whole night, the Ric Flair Memorial Show was
that was something.
That was a crazy night. I was in a ladder match that day.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot you were on that card.
Yeah, I won that ladder match too.
There was a lot of emotions too. There must have been so many emotions floating around with it being a memorial, dedication show for Ric Flair there.
Well, yeah, it was. It was. Because you got to see Rick, who everybody, obviously everybody looks up to Ric Flair. Just he's the best ever, probably.
The charisma that he has.
Just everything. So we all got to kind of say, it was weird because all of us wanted, everybody inside, you all want to talk to him because he's Ric Flair. I mean, come on, he's Ric Flair. But everyone kind of gave him his space. You could tell it was a real emotional time for him. And then his speech he gave before the show started, it's heart-wrenching to have to imagine that situation. And a lot of guys had some kind of attachment who wrestled at XWA because Ric Flair had been there before. I was in the Rumble with him. That was the same day that I wrestled Shane Strickland. I believe JT wrestled Ric Flair that day.
Yes, I'm pretty sure he did.
So a lot of people got, personally, they were in there with Reed, and he seemed like such a good kid and such a good guy. It's a shame that sort of thing happened, but that show, another one where XWA delivered.
Yes.
And I'm sure they're going to deliver again this Saturday for Breakout.
Now, back at the Extreme Rumble, you and your now former partner, the Juice JT Dunn, which was then known as the Juicy Product, you guys were kind of working together, but then kind of looking out for your own interests too. And I know let's clear the air here live on the Strike Zone. You guys were one of the most dominant tag teams in the wrestling scene for over a year. You guys wrestled the Young Bucks. You guys were CCW tag champions along with FIP and about 8 other tag team championships at one point. I lost count after a while.
Yeah, we had a lot. We had a lot of titles.
Must have been heavy carrying all those belts around. But certainly for those who don't know, what happened with the Juicy product? All of a sudden, Dunn was tagging with Chris Hero. All of a sudden, I watched the highlights from CCW recently where you, where they, I don't know if you had made your return, and all of a sudden, Juice made his return and went after you. Now, all of a sudden, you guys are rivals. What happened with the rise and fall of the Juicy product, my friend? Let's clear the air right now on the Strike Zone.
Well, it just seems that the way that we rose together was because we had the same attitude, because it didn't seem like a lot of people didn't like the fact that we were getting popular at all these places we were wrestling, because I'm very new to wrestling, relatively speaking. I mean, I've only been wrestling for a little over 3 years. So, compared to all these wrestlers who are so good, a lot of them have been in the game for so long. I mean, again, Eddie Edwards, the guy who I'm wrestling this weekend, he's been around for, I don't know, at least 10 years, right? Like,
oh yeah,
at least he carries himself like that kind of veteran. And there's so many guys who've been around for so long. People don't like the fact that we were getting into that category and we hadn't been in it that long. JT's been in it longer than I have, I believe. At the time when we started tagging, he was in it like 6 or 7 years. But
I remember when JT Dunn,
only 2 years.
Not to cut you off because I want to continue with the story. I remember when JT Dunn, that's why the Strike Zone, we've had him on multiple times as well. You know, he says he's the savior of professional wrestling. For Providence and for Rhode Island, he really is, you know, kind of our guy. And I remember when he was a little skinny beanpot in RWA back in 07, 08, and he's developed and really made this name for himself. And we in Rhode Island are so proud of him. And, you know, on the Strike Zone, we've had him in studio a couple times, big football fan, love just being around him. He's just such a great guy. But yeah, I could see how you have a similar attitude to him. And I personally, I loved it. I thought you guys were rebelling against the, I don't want to say hierarchy of tag team professional wrestling. But I mean, there's so many people. I mean, you guys got yourselves working against the Young Bucks, who in my opinion are this generation's Midnight Rockers. I think that you guys were incredible, the way you carried yourselves. And it's a shame. I know all good things have to come to an end. It's a shame the run didn't last longer, because I think you guys were so entertaining. I saw Vince Russo kind of put you guys over when you guys met him at one point. And, you know, I know obviously you guys are both on the greener pastures, but I really enjoyed the Juicy product. I thought it was one hell of a tag team.
Hey, I enjoyed the Juicy product too. It was great while it lasted. It wasn't my decision to not have it any longer. I'd said that on a few different things before, where it wasn't really my choice. I was kind of left in the dark. I didn't really understand what was happening. But at the end of the day, like, we had the same kind of attitude, and I think that, like, I always had JT's back, he always had mine, and then I felt that he kind of abandoned me. So that's that, and then, so he did that, so I decided to take it upon myself to air my feelings out. I also believe that Kim was a major part of that.
Yeah, so, I was going to bring that out. It seemed to be an interesting factor in that equation.
That's where the whole thing at Beyond had come.
Yeah.
Where I wrestled Kim a few times, and then, you know, JT decided that was enough, and I got what I wanted, and I got to get in the ring with JT, because a lot of people didn't think, for whatever reason, they didn't think that I was the caliber wrestler that JT was. They think that my kind of wrestling is better suit for Monday nights as opposed to on the weekends.
That's not necessarily
a bad thing.
A bad thing, though, Starr.
No, I don't think so either. But, you know, so there's a lot of people that doubted me, and I know, and whatever my personal feelings are towards JT, because at this point, you know, he decided to lay out a war that could stretch across the entire country, and I'm perfectly fine with doing so. Like, we just, JT and I Matt just got booked in New York, in Elks Lodge, Queens, New York, on June 5th.
Wow.
I'm wrestling JT for 5 Borough Wrestling, and it probably won't be the last place, because I'm asking people to put me in the ring with JT Dunn, because I want to constantly prove that I'm better than JT, and JT wants to prove that he's as good as he says he is, and He is good. He's one of the best out there, period. And we had that match at Beyond, and it was a great match. And JT felt like he had to teach me some things afterwards, and I guess he didn't like the fact that I was still doing things my way, so he decided to sneak up at CZW and start this little war, which, again, I'm perfectly fine with starting a war, and I have no problem with taking it anywhere he goes, because he thinks he's the only one hunting. Well, that's not really the case.
Well, sometimes the hunted has to become the hunter, my friend.
Well, that's what's trust me, it's a two-way street. The feeling is mutual. So wherever it takes us is where it takes us. I have no idea. I'm just living it day by day, and we'll see how that all goes. But all in all, the Juicy product rose because of our attitudes together, and it fell because of our attitudes apart. So,
and personally, I think this rivalry could be just what the independence needs. It's really one of those cases where he's making a lot of threats, and I feel like you're going into XWA on Saturday. He's on that card as well. Not to say you have to watch your back, but I'm sure you got your eyes open. And I'm sure it's the case whether it's Five Borough or anywhere else you're working as well.
That's pretty much it. I don't ever look over my back. I'm not afraid. Like, that's the thing that a lot of people want to think. Whether I go someplace and they decide to boo me or cheer me or whatever it is. Like, I knew walking into Providence, Rhode Island, that the place was going to boo me. I know, because like you just said, JT is their boy.
Oh, yeah.
But I know the real JT. I know JT inside and outside the ring. So, in every way he could possibly imagine. So, I know I'm not going to change me based on where we are, based on how a crowd. I'm not going to be afraid. And I'm not afraid, and I don't like scare. I'm not scared looking over my shoulder. I'm there, and I'm ready. If he comes in anytime I'm somewhere, I'm going to respond accordingly. So it is what it is. Wherever it takes us is where it takes us. Again, like, I don't care if it's at XWA, if it's at Beyond, if it's anywhere that we wrestle. I'm perfectly fine with acting exactly how I need to act. Let's just put it that way.
I think at the end of the day, it may be what you guys both need as singles competitors to really take that next step. And speaking of the next step, where do you envision the next step, Starr? I know you've done a lot with CCW. Is Ring of Honor an option? Are you looking at, maybe Full Sail, which we talked about with Jason Blade last week? Certainly they are putting on a heck of a product down there in Florida. Speaking of products, where does the future lie for the product, David Starr?
Well, right now, all I can think about is Eddie Edwards this Saturday in Cranston for XWA. That's my main focus. And then after that, I'm just trying to go out there and be the best professional wrestler I possibly can be in all aspects. That doesn't mean just doing moves and stuff. That means just being the best in every possible way I can be, which obviously is not just in the ring, it's out of the ring. And I try, obviously I set goals for myself, where I want to be. Obviously I'd love to be at a Ring of Honor. I'd love to be as a part of the WWE umbrella in any aspect. But on the same note, I'd love to be in the TNA. I'd love to be anywhere that is willing to give me an opportunity to showcase my talent. I am willing to be there, and I'd love to be there. And that goes for everyone, whether they have TV or they don't have TV, if they make DVDs, if they're on iPay-per-view, I don't care. I would love to be there. I don't try and set my goals based on someone else's decision. That's something I've always said. The only thing I can do is try and be the best for myself and my family and the people that matter to me, my friends, my beautiful bikini model girlfriend, who she just had her first competition last weekend, and I'm extremely proud of her.
Very nice.
So that's all I can do is just work on me, and then hopefully those things fall into place. But I can't worry about someone else making the decision if they want to bring me somewhere or they don't. I can reach out and make opportunities happen myself, but I can't sit and wait for stuff. So if that stuff happens, awesome. I'd be ecstatic to further myself and help build them as well. Everywhere I go, I just try to make that a better place, and just that's pretty much how it is. Like, that's what I would say the next step is continuing to be a better wrestler and a better person.
Well, David, my father has a phrase I want to share with you as we close this interview that reminds me of your situation. He always says, a man has to walk his own path. And I really get that vibe from you. And I think you have that X factor, XWA. You have that X factor with the entertainment value. You are a tremendous wrestler, no doubt about it, whether it's in there against men, women, people bigger than you like Hanson, people like JT Dunn. And you've always entertained me, and I'm really looking forward to you and JT's future in terms of where will that lead and what kind of matches will come out of that. And I really, like you said, some people say maybe you're better suited off Monday nights. Well, if you got that figured out, and a lot of people maybe are more driven on executing the spots and doing the 450s, but not connecting with the crowd, I truly feel like the X factor in connecting, it is connecting with the crowd, and I feel like you get that, and I really enjoy your work. Any final thoughts? This Saturday, folks, you can check out David Starr wrestling diehard Eddie Edwards in a tremendous showcase match on Pontiac Avenue in Cranston, Rhode Island. Any final thoughts while we have you on, sir?
Just hopefully, fans, you guys all come out and you come check out the show, whether you're wrestling fans or not. Come and check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's great family entertainment. XWA always presents stuff that is great for families. It's great for PG-13 audiences. It hits all possible spectrums. So please come out and check it out. Like you said, Pontiac Avenue in Cranston, Rhode Island. It's going to be a great show. Just I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll try and do my best. And I'm going to beat Eddie Edwards. That's my mantra. I'm going to beat Eddie Edwards.
That's right. Hey, people just have to look at it. At the end of the day, the product will speak for itself. David Starr, thank you very much.
A lot of good puns today.
I'm on my game. What can I say? I have to raise my game when guys like you are on the show. That's all I have to say about that. David Starr, check him out. Former XWA heavyweight champion, former CC Dub tag team champion, and a plethora of other tag team championships. And I'm sure your future is looking brighter than a star. And that's the last one, I promise. David, thank you very much for calling in, my friend. Break out those taunts, and we'll see you Saturday, baby.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
all
David.
right.
Take care.
The product, David Starr. You can check out this interview on our YouTube page. It will be uploaded in the coming weeks. StrikeZone Radio, one word on StrikeZone, capital S, capital Z, and then radio with a capital R. You want to subscribe for all of our interviews on there, including Jeff Levering, Bob Sochi.